Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to episode 4.
Is it going to be episode 4 or 5? Is the last one getting to 2?
The last one getting cut into 2. Maybe. We're filming this before we have edited 3. Because, we read it, we filmed it, and then the next day we read the whole next section, and we're like, well, we can't wait to read anymore. So we're filming early.
But, who knows when you're going to be hearing it.
Alrighty, so we are at, 36?
36.
So we leave off 36 where Selena still hasn't seen Nehemia for a while.
And it's You'll Miss Morning. You Will Miss Morning.
Oh, yeah. So we're enjoying You'll Miss Morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice and quiet, and we don't need to think about bad things. And then she wakes up to candy in her bed.
So much candy.
So much candy. And, I understand, describing how much candy she's eating, but, having her teeth dyed red for,
that was wild.
whole day is terrifying. What? I don't even understand. Maybe, your tongue dyed a color,
Yeah, that's, normal. Or, I feel like sometimes, depending on, blue candy.
Right. Or, the black, gum that, used to change your teeth black.
Yes.
Red's
kind of terrifying, yeah.
So she ate, literally half the bag. And then, Philippa comes in.
Yeah.
She's like a demon.
Yeah. And Philippa comes in and is like, my child eats better than you do. Is less of a messy eater than you are. And she's like, okay.
I don't care. So then she's getting her ready for the ceremony. Then we kind of take a little break. She emerged a while later in this green dress. And then we see that Dorian walks up, and I marked this part. Are you my present, or is there something in that basket at your feet? If you'd like to unwrap me. We have an hour until temple service. It's pull your roll there, bud.
Yeah, literally. But then she gets a puppy. She gets the puppy.
Before that, we find out the candy is also from Dorian.
Oh, well, yeah, true.
Then we get to she gets puppy.
Then we get puppy. Yeah, because I was a little bit suspicious of the candy for a little bit, for a minute, for the whole 2 pages that we didn't know who it was from. And I was really trusting right now.
Yeah, it's immediately just rolls over. Okay, stuffs it all in my All right, so we have her getting the puppy, and she makes all of her demands about how it needs to be trained, and when I'm training, it's training, and this is when it's in the kennel, and it's gonna stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, and then she said, "I'm sorry, I don't have a present for you." That's okay.
He's like,
acting this, and then
yeah, he's just
talking. Oh well, I'll see you later, or perhaps tonight, or I'll try to get away as early as I can. And he's babbling.
Mm-hmm.
And then all because she kissed his cheek. So.
Yep, completely flustered him through Izzy.
All of this with the ball kind of put into her head. She's like, "Oh, is Nehemia's going to be at the ball?" And then she's like, "Wait, is Nehemia going to do some big dramatic thing at the ball?"
And then a genius idea that I had as soon as I heard about them.
That she's going to sneak in. Yeah, you said that, and I was like, "Oh, right." Can't tell you that that's exactly what's going to happen.
Although, to be fair, nothing bad happened at the ball.
We didn't get there yet.
I was right.
We need to get to the part first where she talks to Kale.
Yeah.
So she meets up with Kale. They're going to the temple, and they're kind of going back and forth, and he's like, "What, you're not going to complain about not going to the ball tonight?"
She probably should a little bit. Just to throw him off the scent.
And then she hatched her little plan.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to the temple.
Yeah.
Where they're having this service. She kind of describes everything, and she's sitting with Kale. One thing that I did mark, which probably is just random. The high priestess walked into the stone platform and raised her hands above her head. The folds of her midnight blue gossamer robe fell around her, and her white hair was long and unbound. I just immediately thought, like, Ianthe.
No, exact thought.
Okay, and I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure they were, like, light blue, not midnight blue, but still, like, whatever. It was, like, white, like, blonde hair, whatever. And that's just immediately, like, what I pictured.
It was the same exact, like, the generic, like, image that I had for her is
yeah. This is just, like, what I pictured. So then we have this whole religious ceremony
that she falls asleep for.
that they both fall asleep for. And then Chaol, like, get up, even though, like, he was also asleep. So then we get to that part, and then they start describing the how the little kids are, like, dressed up as the gods and goddesses, and they, like, give a gift to the people in the crowd, but they're totally blindfolded. So they literally just, like, walk until they, like, stop and just
Which,
give it
honestly, I loved the idea of this whole, like, thing as a ceremony. Like, this is actually adorable. I love this.
Yeah, so one thing I marked was Farnar, god of war, stopped in front near Dorian, but then moved to the right across the aisle to give a miniature sword to Duke Parrington. Not surprising. And then the god of love, went right past Selena, and she goes, what a foolish tradition. Like, oh, the loved one walked by. Dumb. Yeah. And then she gets the gift of Deanna, the huntress and protector of the young.
Mm-hmm.
In which Chaol's like, she's like, oh, I assume you're not going to let me keep this. He's like, I'm not going to mess with the gods. Like, you can hold on to this. I'm going to trust you with it.
And I mean, she can do damage with anything, so what if she has a arrow?
Yep. And then that's pretty much the temple service.
Yeah. Yep.
And pretty quickly we get into 38 where yards of silk and clouds of powder, and she's having her princess moment.
Yes.
This is literally, like, just being transformed. And I like how she said, Philippa said, if I didn't know any better, I'd call myself a fairy queen. It's like, and she was going to say magic. And I was just like, oh, she's a fairy godmother.
Exactly.
Yeah, so she's not in pure white, but grayish offset.
Mm-hmm.
Totally very descriptive and pretty.
Yeah, I like, this was like the transformation scene, like the full out I was wanting the whole time. Like, I need every, like, descriptor page to be like this.
Yeah. And then Philippa's also got, like, oh, you could win the hand of the king. Or perhaps the crown prince will do. And she's like, I know what's going on. And
like, that's probably what Philippa knows. Like, that's probably what Selena told her was, yeah, listen, I want to go to this and, like, try, you know, there's like, that's a good enough cover of just, like, her wanting to, you know, wow the prince.
Yeah, but I don't even think she would, like, admit that or try to make that up. I'm pretty sure she would have just went to Philippa and be like, I'm going to the ball tonight. And Philippa would have been like, down. Right. I'm gay. No explanation needed.
Uh-huh.
But they do pretend that she was actually invited to get away from the guards. Mm-hmm. Or to, like, bring her there.
Yep. Yeah. And then all of them are just like, oh my god, you look so pretty.
Save a dance for me. So then we head down to the ball. She takes a minute. Then the whole big, like, reveal. Walk into the ball. Everyone's looking at her.
Oh my gosh, can I just say, I was so glad that they didn't do the whole, like, oh, they don't recognize her, just she has a mask over.
Oh my, yes.
What is it? Girl story where it's like, we've seen this girl every single day at school, but as soon as she's got a mask on, we have no clue who she is.
Yeah, literally. So obviously, like, people didn't know who she was, but they didn't know who she was in the first place. So all the people that knew her recognized who she was.
Exactly.
Then we immediately switched to Dorian's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Where he almost dropped his drink as soon as he saw her. So everyone's looking at her. And I like how he describes it too. He's like, her dress was made of stars plucked from the sky. Like, what man is describing like dresses like this?
His one true purpose in life is to fall in love.
Yeah. So then he's literally saying to himself, like, walk to her. Like, go take her hand. But before he could do that, somebody steps in.
It's Kale.
It's Kale.
Yeah.
So he's like, please don't tell me that Captain Westfall suddenly has a wife. And he's like, what? No.
Definitely not.
So after Kale takes her hand and walks away, the lady that Dorian was with is like, do you know her? And he's like, no.
Mm-mm.
And then goes into...
All right. Reminded me of, it was a very, like, Ron Weasley moment, Yule Ball, and, like, Hermione, who is that with Victor Crumb? No idea.
Yep, exactly.
Nope, definitely not.
So then Kale immediately, like, pulls her over and is like, what are you doing here? And she just wants to have some fun, and she's lonely. You couldn't spend one evening on your own? Bro.
To be fair,
she's alone.
All right.
And then facts that some of the other champions were there too. So you can't even, like, say it's really that bad that she's there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then he lets her stay. And then they kind of go back into the crowd.
He only gets a cheek pat instead of a cheek kiss.
Aww. They're BFFs.
Yeah.
On to the next page, I marked something where when Dorian was dancing with this other girl.
Yeah.
That she was like, he didn't notice me.
He definitely did.
Like, she cares.
Mm-hmm.
And
pretending not to notice he was
right.
noticed.
So then an hour goes by, and she's just chilling. She's like, Nehemia's not doing anything. Why did I think she was going to do something? Like, I'm such a bad friend.
Honestly, yeah.
Literally, like, you just thought your friend, for some reason, was just going to murder all these people?
Which, like, I mean, I get it, like, but also, not that kind of...
Then she makes the valid point again of, like, she wouldn't go back and, like, do this big grand thing, like, and hurt innocent people, because that's what she's totally against, is, like, hurting innocent people.
Exactly.
So then she runs into Nehemia, and she says she's not feeling well, she's going back to her room.
Which, like, so heard that, like, all, like, 500 of her people just got killed, and she's, like, having to put on a face to be able to, like, be at this celebration because she has to look nice for it.
So then Kale comes up and he's like, what's going on? She's like, don't worry about it. And then he's like, press it. He's like, no, like, what's wrong? And then she kind of just plays it off. No one's going to dance with me if you're scowling at everyone.
Which is so valid.
Yeah, and then the other part that I marked was, like, she's, like, pretty seriously, like, even though she does, she's like, would you dance with me? And he goes, with you? No. It's like, really? You didn't need to be so cruel, Kale. And then he tries to blow it up. Well, if Parrington wasn't here, I would have said yes. Parrington's not your boss.
Literally.
Why did he just become, like, the big bad wolf? Like, what is he gonna do to you?
Mm-hmm.
So then,
Oh, and then it's so sad, because he's like, she's like, why aren't you dancing with anyone? And then he's like, I'm the captain of the guard. I'm not exactly a catch for any of them. Which is so sad.
And then she calls him handsome. And then she was about to say, why if I wasn't? But Dorian sticks in and is like, why aren't you dancing? He compliments her. Says Kale also looks radiant. And
her blood turned stars.
Wild description. What? Crazy.
But, oh my god.
And then he said, would you like to dance with me? And then Kale goes, I don't think that's a good idea. And then both Selena and Dorian at the same time are like, why? Because it's tension. Oh. So then Dorian's like, dude, relax, take a night off. Kale says he's going to go to get a drink and wanders away, and then they're dancing.
For the rest of the night.
The whole time. 39 switches to Dorian's perspective. Where he is still being so dramatic.
He's just in love.
And then,
he's captivated.
well, some parents hit their children. Mine also punished me with dancing lessons. Then you must have been a very naughty boy.
Yep.
So then they're still just kind of talking while they're dancing, and they're talking about how the dog is still in the room, couldn't send the dog to the kennels, and he suddenly felt the urge to kiss her hard upon the mouth. Okay.
Like, all right.
And then it's like in his head, he's like, oh, she's an assassin, I can't do this. And then he's like, but just tonight.
Just do it one time.
And then we switch to Kale, who's
Mm-hmm.
watching his friend dance with the assassin that he is also in love with.
Mm-hmm.
And then, who's this? Oh, Otho. He comes over and he's like, I thought you were with her. He just wants information here. He does not give a shit. He wants the gossip. And then he's like, oh, you don't dine with us anymore. And he's like, I haven't dined with you in 3 years. And then he wants to know, is she with Dorian? And he's like, no. And then he's the one to point out that it looks like Dorian is in love with Celaena.
Yeah. This whole thing was so stressful to me. Like, full love triangle territory, and like multiple, like everybody is seeing it. Like everyone's being too obvious with this, and it was stressing me out. Like, why are none of you being smart? And then I remembered that they're all 19, and then it explained everything.
Well, Gale's 22.
True, which is probably why he's the only one that made the smart decision of the night.
And then, I like how he makes the point. He's like, oh, well, he said that it looks like Dorian was in love with her, but he didn't say anything about Celaena being in love with Dorian.
Which is just like hearing what he wants to and not seeing he doesn't want to.
It's like, I'm just gonna believe. So then, he leaves. Then we get stupid Kelton and Parrington. And they're having their little conversations and everything. And, yep, so that happens. Don't really care. The clock chimed 3. This is no Cinderella. We are there till 3. We do not leave at midnight.
It was wild.
She decides to leave when Dorian went to go get a drink. She found her escorts. They bring her back, and before she even gets there, Dorian's already at the door. And he's like, you were gonna leave me without saying goodbye? And then we get another, I'm not interested in court ladies, and then just kisses her.
And this is where I said, oh no.
Literally, to let everyone know, Delaney was reading this today and texted me. Let me pull it up, because this is just great. In all capitals today at 1:53 p.m. Oh no, they kissed. I knew exactly where she was.
I was like, no. Because I'm still, right now, my big fan theory is we're still heading in Luke and Leia territory. My brain is. And I'm like, please, no. My firm theory is that they're of the same bloodline. And I'm like, I don't need this.
So, that was an oh no, they kissed.
That was an oh no, they kissed.
And then, he pulled away for a moment and then looked into her eyes and was like, we're gonna do this or what? And kissed her again.
No. He said, I should go to bed. Alone.
Yeah, somehow in all of this that's happening, she was like, things were different between when she saw him in Enderveer, and then she's like, Enderveer, why am I kissing the prince? And then she's like, yeah, I should dip. And then he leans against her and he's like, good night, and then gives her another kiss. Also, we skipped the part where she stops and he goes to kiss her again and she puts 2 fingers up to his lips. Actually, we're not gonna do this.
Oh my god. I know, at least it wasn't a full, just 2.
So then, Dorian, consequences be damned, he's gonna find a way to make this work. And then we find out that Kale was watching. I mean, not watching.
At least he didn't see that whole thing.
He can infer what happened, but he doesn't actually know. And
below. Boo-hoo.
Yeah. Then we get to 40. As Puppy is waking her up in bed. And then she's talking to the dog and realizes, oh, somebody is in my room. Again, with the
lack of
self-awareness. So Dorian's now back in her room, and she slept all afternoon until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
To be fair, they were out until 3 in the morning, so by the time that she's home, gets all that off, she's not going to sleep before 4 a.m. So really, it makes sense that she slept until 1.
Yeah.
That thing, it does make sense. I don't know why she thought that she was going to be awake at whatever training time.
Yeah, so then we named the dog Fleetfoot.
Not Goldie.
Not Goldie. Fleetfoot
isn't much better.
I would much rather Goldie. And this is coming from someone who has a dog named Bear.
No.
So then he's like, did you sleep well? And then he's like, this part was funny. I'm sorry if I was too forward with you. Selena, you're grimacing. And she's like, sorry.
Sorry, let me fix my face. Sorry.
And then she gets all caught up in her words, and he's like, so you liked it. And then she gets very offended that he's like, it seems like you've never been kissed before.
Like, no, I've been kissed.
And then obviously he notices the scars because she's got a little nightgown on. And he comments on those. I marked this last part of that too. We all bear scars. We all bear scars, Dorian. Mine just happen to be more visible than most. Sit there if you like, but I'm gonna get dressed. It's like, that's deep for an 18-year-old.
Yeah, very like nonchalant about all of this. She's like, I don't know. It is what it is. Like, what are you gonna do?
So then we get to Carlton again with Parrington.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of talking about Dorian, and then he leads on that she is not Lady Lillian, that she is Selena the assassin. And then
his part,
he's like, I want you to poison her.
And then I said, uh-oh.
And she's like, you want me to kill her? She was not ready to kill, but she will gladly injure or disorient.
Bobby didn't mean to kill. He only meant to maim or seriously injure.
Seriously injure.
I know.
We need to make it through one episode without a Harry Potter reference.
It's possible. It's just constantly there.
With no Disney, no Shrek, and no Harry Potter.
No external pop culture references.
That's hard. We can limit to Disney, Shrek, and Harry Potter.
Hard. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But
so then she agrees.
Right. But I was thinking, like, we already know that she's good at being able to, like, detect poisons. Obviously, the test was like, okay, you know that you're supposed to be looking for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that the poison that they use is one of the ones that either smells weird and she's going to be like, ooh, that's not safe. And then she won't drink it. But that's my guess right now. I don't know.
Ugh. So let me move on.
Yeah. 41.
Clock chime 10.
This is 10 p.m.
Right? Yes. I was just doing that math. I was like, yeah, she woke up at 1. Now it's 10. Mm-hmm. She's reading through the book that Nehemia left somewhere, or she saw her reading, right? That same one. Mm-hmm. And saw in the margins by some of the weird marks written for sacrifices to the Ritterak. That's how I'm going to say it. Using the victim's blood, mark the area around it accordingly. Once the creature has been summoned, these marks guide the exchange for the flesh of the sacrifice. The beast will grant you the victim's strength.
I swear to you, I made this note before reading the next 2 pages.
What was your note?
I came out so big.
Here we go.
It was like, how did this girl still, after reading that, after seeing Kane, I didn't even see this man. I just read about him. And I was like, oh, no, he's big. How did she not put, I get it. It's for the plot. I get it. I was so mad that she was like, oh my gosh, no, it's definitely Nehemia now. What? Huh? What do you mean?
I mean, like, she gets the hint because, like, Nehemia had the book and got all weird, and then, like, but put it together.
It made me so, and I was so mad that it, like, got solved so quick after. I was like, oh.
Which she's so, like, rambling on that she thinks it's Nehemia.
Mm-hmm.
So then she goes into the tunnel, and she's not going to Elena's tomb. She's going the other way. Because now there's footprints, which there were not before. And we go, not Nehemia, a man. Well, we figure out this man is Cain, obviously. And she even says it herself, who's gotten stronger and better as the competition went on. She thought it was just training, but it's because he's been summoning a beast that's been killing people and gaining all their power.
Yep.
So then the creepy animal comes out, the Ritterak thing.
I mean, for real, you want to know what I imagine this thing as?
Sure.
The hyenas from Lion King, but like, like the animated one.
Okay, but there's been like fan art of these things,
Yeah.
and the face part, little similar to like the one with the weird eye.
It's Ed for sure.
It's like a mix of that and then this like other creepy face thing that I can't think of the name of, but I'll show you that later. Don't look it up.
Okay.
But vibes are there, just like 20 times bigger and gray.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I couldn't take
So then he realizes that she's there.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it wasn't supposed to be you, but here you are, bitch. And then he runs away and leaves her with the Ritterak.
And she is so smart.
Yep. She's like, I know where there's a sword, and I know I'm not making it all the way back to my room, so I gotta try to go somewhere. So she runs right at the thing, jumps over it, gets to the tomb, and finds Damaris. And she kills it.
Yeah.
Well,
in the meantime, finding out that it's venomous.
Oh, yep. She gets bit. She's just bleeding, and she does not feel good.
I was like, why are you not panicking that this thing just bit you? Like,
she didn't even realize it bit her till it was like dead. And then she looked and she's like, oh shit.
But it was not like, oh, I've just been bit by something venomous. It was like, oh, I've been punctured.
Oh, I'm bleeding.
Oh, like urgency.
She bursts back into her room and there's Nehemia for some odd reason.
That's a good thing.
And then she's doing some weird marks and healing her underwater.
Which is a very, very good that she was there. Had those powers. That's good.
Yeah. And then we get to our last chapter of this session, which is 43. Which I told you, I was like, we could have stopped here, but that would have been awful.
That would have been really mean.
The next one also ends on a little cliffhanger, but not as devastating as
Black
overtook her, and we don't know what happened.
Yep.
So Selena wakes up.
And she's fine. It's all good. Hours later, she's completely healed.
Yeah. She realizes that she's in a nightgown. She's like, her hand's healed. She asks Nehemia what happened.
And she's like, no, you first.
Yeah, she's like, if I hadn't found you, you would have died. Like, what the fuck? And she's like, first of all, there's no blood coming from anywhere. So, like, you just appear? Like, what? Where did you come from? So then
she tells her story.
She explains part of her story. She does not tell her everything. But she explains that she is Selena Sardarthian. And then she puts together that's why she speaks Ilwe the way she does. And that she was at Enderveer and, like, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they decide to become BFFs. 2 things I marked, which actually I marked one, and then I took it off and put it farther down the page, because I was like, I don't need to put 2 marks, but, like, whatever. The first one is that she says, names are not important. It's what lies inside of you that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you bear many names, and shall I name you? And I name you as well. And then she draws an invisible mark on her forehead, the same forehead that we've been staring at creepily, and says, I name you, something. Alentia?
I really tried to like process this name. And
That's, I'm gonna, Alentia.
Alentia.
What do you got?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll look it up later. It means spirit that could not be broken. So, yeah. Then they sit and they talk about, her life. And the next morning, she's walking with Kale. Like nothing ever happened.
Didn't almost die.
No, never happened. And I love how Kale's like, you're quiet. Did you and Dorian have a fight? No, I almost fucking died. Stop worrying about me and the boy.
It's not all about him.
And then he's like, did you enjoy dancing in the ball? And it's like, were his words a bit sharp? Yeah, because he's jealous.
He just doesn't know that it's jealousy.
And I love how he says, well, now I know you're not going anywhere. It's like, ooh boy. And then she's like, yep, can't tell Kale. That'd be a bad idea. Now, she also thinks the evil's over.
Yeah. No, we have how much book we have left?
This is an 8-book series, honey. Now she just has to defeat Cain in the duel, and then no one needs to know. You are so naive. And he goes, I'm only going to ask you this once, and then I won't ask it again. Do you know what you're getting into with Dorian? Are you giving me romantic advice, Captain of the Guard? And he makes a comment, is this for my sake or for Dorian's? Both. An hour later, they were still training. Then they started talking about poetry.
Epic
Poetry. And then they just start walking back after their training, and bam!
The king
in the hallway. Dun, dun, dun. We ended, and that's why we needed to do this so fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took everything in me to not like just it's right here, and I had to go nope.
It's right here. You read The King, and then you're like, wait, I can't read ahead.
Yep.
This is the part where it's good.
I know, and we only have we really don't have that much left.
Yeah, I think we were gonna do 2 more sections.
2 more of this?
Like read from 44 to 50 and stop. And then read through 50. And then read 51 to 55.
That literally gives us like 2 pages to read.
I mean, that's what it said. You want to just finish the book, you know I'm down.
All right, let's do it.
See, but the problem is, I'm not going to have the next book.
I don't either.
I know, but I was like waiting for my birthday.
Your birthday's in like a week.
Yeah, but I'm not going to get it till the 22nd.
Then I'll
just start reading it on my Kindle. I already own it.
I'm still gonna need to find